Today we are presented with a science fiction world that totally couldn't happen. A PG-13 thriller with AI and humans pitted against each other in a war, and we have commentary on the military-industrial complex and human beings and acceptance and life and morality, all concepts which totally can't be applied to current state of our socioeconomical climate. And today we have the creator. Creator? Caramel, take your pick. You know that one song where it's like, imagine all the people. Imagine a world where MovieMan here can review a film on the weekend that it comes out and not 1 week plus after. Truth be told, I already filmed this review, and then apparently the AI decided to launch a counterattack because I lost the footage. It became corrupt for some unknown damn reason, but here we are. Funny enough, not a summer blockbuster film. It's more of like a early fall sci-fi thriller. And for context, the shirt I have on, We Are Alive, is from Brian Deckard and Amelia Rose Blair. I think I've made mention of them in the past, but Brian Deckard is the actor who plays Connor, the android sent by CyberLife, from Detroit Become Human, which is all a game about androids becoming sentient, becoming life. They signed it. So I thought that this shirt was very relevant. Real talk though, this film did inspire not only a lot of conversation, but some kind of like, I don't want to say aggressive debate, but me and a friend of mine, we have similar yet very differing views on AI. To get it out of the way so you know what my bias is going in, I fully realize the current state of artificial intelligence, and I think it provides some good stuff, but also there are some pitfalls and some dangers that we want to veer away from. I think as it is right now, it's like a man-made, human-created type of thing. I think that it helps in terms of like mathematical computation, helping to get some like semi-automated systems and all that in place for making our lives easier, but we gotta cool it on the whole AI art, AI actors, and all this type of stuff. The important parts are don't take work away from actual human beings, and especially don't try to replace the artists with, artificial intelligence. That's where we go too far. That being said, although artificial intelligence haven't really gained sentience and are not their own species, as it were, I also subscribe to the ideology that anything is possible. So could there be a future we're looking at years down the line where AI do kind of develop further and become their own sentient race in society? I believe it's a, keyword here, possibility. And that's what the movie The Creator is all about. It's about human beings versus artificial intelligence. It's a world we live in now where we, developed robotics, androids, and it's the usual narrative. We've all heard and seen it before, where we built them up to help serve us, but then something happened, they seemed to have turned, and then before you know it, we're like, oh my god, the AI launched a nuke at LA, and then boom, and then that was the sparking point of a war. The world that we're now kind of like finding ourselves trudging along and exploring through is a world where all of America is like, screw those AI, they're murderous savages, we have to exterminate them all, end this war. And then other parts are like the rest of the world, or as they called it, New Asia, I think, reformed Pangea in this movie. Pro-android life, and they help to harbor these fugitives and help to try to, there's other sects and whole other societies that are all like android, or because there's the obvious robots in this movie, but then there's ways that they have like these skin faces from scanned human faces, so they actually seem to be very human-esque to our eyes anyway. So there's societies, towns full of those people, and there's the humans, and they're both trying to basically end the war. Now, what got me intrigued, and what was a very big positive in my book, and for a lot of like sci-fi nerds like me, like all of our collective books, is that The Creator is directed by a Gareth Edwards. Gareth Edwards directed I wouldn't say my favorite Star Wars film, but one of my top favorite Star Wars films, Rogue One. I think Rogue One is a fantastic film. He directed this. That was back in 2016 though. It's been a minute. Like if you go onto his IMDb, he has, a bunch of shorts and he has some feature-length films, but not a whole lot. He did also do the 2014 Godzilla remake, which say what you want about lack of Godzilla, or lack of Bryan Cranston for that matter. I thought it was a pretty good movie, and it had my boy from Bullet Train in it, so I can't be too upset. So we have an actor that I like, but I can recognize that this actor seems to have some pitfalls to him. But we have our lead, John David Washington. Now, overall, on the whole, I do enjoy him. I like this actor a lot. You've probably seen him from his big breakout roles and stuff like BlacKkKlansman. That was a very big one. Or the one that just came out a little bit too early before COVID had fully blown over, but you have Tenet. And like I said, overall I like him, but my friends brought up, is he actually a good actor? I think I've come to the conclusion that he is a good actor, like 80% of the time. Most of the lines that he delivers, most of his acting is good, but then oddly enough, mixed into this performance, like there are some lines that just have kind of more of a flat delivery. Maybe it's the director, maybe it's the actor, I don't know, but he's good, but he's also inconsistently good, or inconsistently great, based on how you want to put it. End of the day, I like him, and I always love the representation here. I love to see a film like this, and a big sci-fi action thriller, and we have a leading black protagonist. That's awesome. The next one, I had to notate this down because I consider her the secondary primary protagonist, regardless of the other people that are in this. This is her first role in literally anything ever. Madeline Una Vales. She was the little girl that played Alfie, but goes by Alpha in the movie. She's the weapon, what have you. For this being her first ever role, I think overall, great job. But there's certainly some emotional scenes where I was like, okay, she's killing it right now. The last shout out that I want to give, but Allison Janney, she's been in so much, but I've only seen her in very select things, but whenever I see her in something, it's super unique, it's different. I think the last thing that I saw her in, honestly, was what she played the mom in I, Tonya, and I think she got an Oscar nomination for her role, Best Supporting Actress. But yeah, in this one, I don't know what it is, but she plays this short hair, scarred up, military, what was it, a colonel or a captain or something, or corporal, I forget, but she's leading the charge against Android. She has her own personal vendetta, but she's also cutthroat, won't let anything or anybody stand in her way to accomplish her mission. So I laid out the initial premise. Basically, the whole movie takes John's character. We found out the AI are developing a weapon, and we need you to go find it and destroy it. And if you do that, we'll give you all the praise and accolades, but more importantly, you might be able to find your wife. And that's mainly the driving force for him. But in going to go find this weapon and destroy it, he finds out the weapon is this little girl, this little robot. But that's the kicker, is apparently in this society where there's androids all about, there are no kid androids. It's impossible. So the fact that this thing exists is whoa, what's going on? This little girl android, whatever, Alfie, is a cross hybridization with human elements inside of her, which means that as she can grow, which also means that the powers that she has that other androids don't will also grow. We've seen this paradigm hundreds of times now to varying degrees of success, but it's the whole grizzled older guy who's lost something in his life and has to pick up this little kid or little girl or little something, and at first it's oh, cold, and I'm just doing this it's the job, it's what I gotta do, and then eventually warms up to it and it's no, this is my new surrogate daughter, I must protect and attack. Where the film works for me, I do love the aesthetic and production design in the film. It's got that gritty sci-fi, it immediately makes me think of something like District 9 or Elysium, stuff that's similar to just a couple movies to throw out, but also has that retro futurism that I like so much from franchises such as Alien. That whole, it's clearly the future, we have future tech and stuff going on. You'll see a old beat up pickup truck, but it has a hologram and LED display on the inside, and it can borderline hover when it's driving around. You'll see basic radios that are being used, just radio waves, but then you'll also see tech where it's oh, this guy died, but there's an empty android. We can take this USB stick out of the human, plug it into the robot, and talk to the guy who just died. Heavy influence of high concept science fiction in there, though they do kind of yada yada over a lot of it. But I love that aesthetic. I like it when you combine the old with the new. It's why I like stuff like Indiana Jones or Hellboy so much. It's the juxtaposition. It's a visual, just a visual checkbox for me. I like that aesthetic. The story itself is intriguing. It is, without a doubt, very relevant today. If you haven't been living under a rock, you at least know that there's plenty of stories, and I don't know what it is about 2023 in particular, but plenty of I don't want to say advancements in AI necessarily, because AI is always being advanced by us, but it's just been becoming more relevant lately. The debates that human beings are having about AI today translates very well into this film, where it's like, oh, AI is trying to destroy all of us, we have to fight it back, but there could be something deeper, sir, and then investigate that premise from there. So it works, and it's very, very apropos for our current political climate. The acting in this movie overall is good. Sometimes John David Washington's delivery can fall a little bit flat, but all the other actors, bravo. Although I will say, you know what? No bravo, because there's one actor, I don't want to hold a grudge against this guy. I forget the actor's name. I'll throw him up here, I guess. But I think his character's name is like June or Jude or something, but he's like a military friend, and his only purpose seems to exist to either to have the piss beat out of him or to just be overly expository. And there's one scene where they reconnect, and he's like, takes one look at the specs of this kid, and he's like, oh, I know this kid's entire future is going to consist of. Let me spell it out for you. Flatly delivered expository thing for like 1 to 2 minutes, which gives you information, but also has you asking more questions. And since it's delivered in such a way, you're just like, okay. I think where the film suffers the most is that it's one of those films where it's fun and it's good, and if you really let yourself enjoy yourself and the movie, but if you dig too deep into this film has many plot holes. It has many what we call deus ex machina moments, where things just happen to work out in just the right way with just the right timing. Character decisions, sometimes it's like a delay up here from the brain to the what are we gonna do? Like, I don't know. Like, in the pacing in the third act, a friend pointed out, and I had to agree, that by the time that we get to the third act and stuff starts really happening, the final 30 minutes is like, where are we? We're here, and now we're here. Boom. And like, whoa, what? How did we get here? Things just kind of work out, and then just people don't always make logical decisions. People just kind of act, and it really drags the film down for me. There's a lot of like questions regarding timeline, regarding characters, their abilities, android evolution. It's one of those films where if you start really trying to analyze it too much, it is not airtight, it is not perfect. It's fun, and if you don't think too hard and just enjoy the ride, then you're really going to be in for a good time. The trailer didn't excite me, but also I went in wanting to like it because I love to find new good sci-fi like feature film thrillers, and it's a director that I liked, and there's actors in it that I recognize, and I was really down for the journey. But also I knew to proceed with caution. But it suffers from that whole like PG-13 action movie that wants so badly to be R. Sci-fi and violence like this lends itself to be R-rated and to be like violent, gory, bloody, not for the sake of it, but to enhance that feature of it. And there's just moments in this film where you can tell it's like they had to pull some punches or shoot a film a certain way, and it hits but doesn't hit as hard. I won't rant too much longer. I've already made this a little bit longer than I should have. The creator, short and sweet, I would give it a low 4 out of 5. A low 4 out of 5, and I think there's some bias kicking in there because of my personal enjoyment of the film, but overall, you can tell it's a high-budget sci-fi thriller. It was filmed on like a $4,000 camera, and it has this like graininess to it, but it also serves the visual aesthetic well. There's beautiful shots, the cinematography is great, the music, while nothing too revolutionary, is still very nice and complementative to the film. Visually speaking, it looks great. Not like full 4K pristine pixel, but like, again, that graininess adds to the film. It adds to the aesthetic of the film. I keep throwing that word out there. It is worth it seeing in theaters. I got very lucky, got to see it in IMAX. That was pretty cool. That was pretty fun. But yeah, it's a cinematic experience. If you like sci-fi, if you like science fiction action thrillers, if you are even a little bit intrigued by the current debate going on around artificial intelligence, then all these could be reasons for you to check it out as well. But overall, I liked it. I didn't love the film. I wanted to love the film, but I really enjoyed it. It just has some pitfalls to it that just prevent it from being a fantastic or like perfect film in my eyes. That's all I gotta say about The Creator. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next delayed movie review episode of whatever I make. I don't know. Goodbye, travelers.